Welcome to Dicta, your weekly dose of law school and bar exam info. I'm Carrie Ann.
And I'm Puyan, and we're the co-founders of Vinco. So today we're going to talk about some of the changes that are taking place with the new version of the bar exam that's being given in New York and many other states, the UBE.
Yep. Do you know anything about the UBE?
No.
No.
I didn't take it.
And you don't ever have to take it, so it really doesn't matter to you at all. So specifically in this video, I want to talk about what's different about the essay portion, because the MBE, the multiple choice day, is going to stay exactly the same. Those same awesome 200 multiple choice questions remain. So that's good.
So when I took the exam, the essay day was New York specific questions. Is it still that way?
No. So now, instead of there being 5 essays, there's 6 essays. And instead of getting 40 to 45 minutes per essay, you get a half hour an essay.
But what about the content?
They are now all common law.
So no New York specific law?
Not on the exam itself. There's like a collateral test, kind of like the MPRE, called the New York Law Exam, that is going to be administered a few times a year, which tests on New York specific law. But on the actual, February and July bar exams, there is no longer those New York distinctions.
So now in New York, you need the MPRE, the bar exam, and the New York
Law exam
in
order to be admitted to practice law, and you need to independently pass all those things.
And do you know how many times a year the New York Law exam?
Multiple times a year. I think maybe 4 or 5. I don't know exactly, but multiple times. And it's different than the MPRE in that you don't go in person. It's an online open book exam, but you have to take a little class to qualify for it.
Okay, and do you have any recommendations with regard to like the order in which people should take these exams?
Yeah, you should take the MPRE while you're in law school. I recommend taking it this summer before your third year, in between your second and third year. That gives you a chance, if you don't pass the first time, to take it again. And you really just don't want to be that person sitting taking it after you took the bar exam, unless you absolutely have to.
Yep.
Then
that was me.
Then they're recommending to take the New York Law exam earlier in your career, as early as you can take it, because you don't want to fill your head with New York law right before you start studying for a test that doesn't have any New York law in it. So
before the bar exam?
Yes. So also, so you take them both in law school. As to which one you take first, it doesn't really matter. But the idea is that you don't want to take the New York law little course that you have to take and the test too close to bar review. So
makes sense.
That's that.
So are there any other major differences between the MEE and the old version of the New York specific essays?
So the one thing we didn't mention before I get into that is that now there are 2 MPTs also. So in the morning in New York, you sit for your 6 essays, and in the afternoon you sit for 2 MPTs, whereas before it was essays and multiple choice in the morning and essays and 1 MPT in the afternoon. So that covers all of sort of the structural changes. But specifically to talk about the MEE essays and why I think that they are a little bit tricky, even though you have less law to learn, the New York essays, as they were before, were pretty much issue spotted for you. You remember, it was like, is Carrie Ann liable for negligence?
Yeah.
Did Puyan commit homicide? Clearly I have to up the stakes for you.
And he did.
Right, the answer is always yes. When did Puyan do something? So that makes, for people who have trouble issue spotting, and that can really be a thing for students in law school, that can really be their specific struggle, that element was kind of taken out on the New York bar exam. It was really just law application. And you still have to be able to do that. You still have to be able to craft a complete rule and give a very thorough analysis section. But now you get a fact pattern, and they're mostly single subject essays. There might be a little crossover between like agency and corporations, but mostly if you have a torts essay, it's a torts essay, not anything else. And you'll get your fact pattern, and then it'll say, list any and all causes of action. Like very broad call to action. And sometimes there are 5, 6, 7 issues that you have to address, or issues and defenses, things like that. So that is what makes me nervous about the change in these essays, because you really have to know the law to the level where you can correctly issue spot it.
Yeah, that sounds tough, and I think I would struggle a little bit with the timing on an essay like that?
So that's what I'm seeing through my position with law school, working with students there. We're starting to get a critical mass of grading some of these essays under our belt, and I do think that is the number one problem students are going to have adjusting is time management over the course of 6 essays. You really have to say a half hour and move on, a half hour and move on, or you're going to be dead in the water. I just graded essays where they had to do 2 back to back, and I was giving 9s and 10s, which is an excellent grade on essay number 1, and 0s on essay number 2 because people didn't get to it at all. So that is a really astute observation. That timing is going to be an issue.
So what? Just pick a few issues, stick with them, and move on.
The finishing is better than not finishing. So I would rather you have 6 semi-complete, done answers than 4 perfect answers and 2 that you didn't get to, because you're going to fail the bar. There's no getting around that. You need to get something. You need to be getting points for every essay. So yeah, the best thing to do, and we'll learn more, and we'll do an updated video, as we learn more, like how the New York examiners are actually grading these tests.
Right.
So we still have a little learning curve, but for now, practice, practice, practice. That is the best thing I can tell you to do, so that on exam day, you know exactly what 30 minutes feels like and the kind of quality of work you can produce in that time frame.
Well, that was pretty comprehensive. Anything we should add?
No, I think that's it for now. And like I said, we will circle back after we get this first test graded and we get some more information about how New York is implementing it. So you'll have to check back for that.
All right. If you guys have any questions, shoot an email to carrieann@vincoprep.com or check out our Facebook page.
See you next week.